Hello world, how's it going? Hope you guys are all doing great. If not, as always, I hope it gets better for you. So today I want to share with you Corey McElroy's of Aquarium Co-op's outdoor tubs in his koi pond. And yeah, I'm still under the weather. I sound like this, but luckily that's not on this video. But anyways, let's roll this footage.
Side here, this is right on that other wall where I had all the water going. And we've got 300-gallon ponds. These are the start of what I play with outside. So here, there's nothing in these two. This is just some really long duckweed. And what I'll do with this, I'll come out here and I'll grab this and I'll feed it to the goldfish. It's one of the best things you could feed goldfish. It helps clean them out, make sure they're not getting constipated and that kind of stuff. So this goes year round for us. We're lucky we don't get that cold. Like, we haven't had any snow or ice this year. It's crazy. So nothing going on in here. But this one, we do have some rice fish in. We have the orange Japanese rice fish that I got a hold of. They've been outside over 2 years. We have had ice almost 2 inches thick on here, and there's quite a few babies. They're breeding in all the hornwort and guppy grass and that kind of stuff down low, and we just let them do their thing. There's not even air going on in here. We want the water to stratify, so right now the water temp is colder down low than it is up high. Right now up high there's warmer when the sun comes, so the fish tend to come up and I get to see them. If we were running the bubbler like in that other tank, all of it would be the same temperature and it would just be colder. So
they actually like it down there at the bottom where it's colder?
Well, only because we're standing right here. But normally they come right up at the surface because it's like a degree or two warmer right at the surface for them. And they can also pick off some of the pollen and the bugs that fall in. And there's some other tactics we do. So if I was really like in a better year where I didn't travel the entire winter or up until the winter and I was prepared more, we have tops we can put on here, and because we have this airline tubing comes in from the fish room, we're pumping warm air in. And so if you put a top on here and you've got this foot of warm air, it slowly will transfer and keep this warmer. Now, if I was really trying, you can surround it with hay bales or build a surround, because as heat's going to radiate out, wind's going to blow it away, but we're not at that level. Like, I keep pretty hardy fish out here, white clouds, koi, goldfish, that kind of stuff. But that is one of my dreams, to either build a greenhouse or play with that more. In my oldest videos, I was running like a solar hot air collector. I love tinkering with how can I make it so the sun will heat all of this and make it happen even when it's snowing and that kind of stuff. So, but over here we've got a bunch more ponds and a bunch more projects going on. Over here there's a bunch of IBC totes, and these are used for different things. In this pond in particular, we have the platinum rice fish. A lot of green water going on, and we let nature do its thing. So we've got pine needles falling in. That helps keep the green water going. Everything that's naturally going to fall in here just decomposes and fuels little microorganisms that they're going to eat. So I like to run them as natural as possible. There's no air, nothing going on. This is a tote that holds about 220 gallons or so. And then this one's a 360 gallon. We'll do some breeding in here. This one reminds me of your ponds because I had a bunch of like dwarf sage that was flowering, and there's lots of guppy grass and hornwort here. But then there's all the pine needle. People would get this stuff out, the pine cones. I leave it in because as this breaks down, it's the fertilizer to keep all these plants going. I don't put any fertilizer in. I haven't done a water change in over 2 years. We've got, a couple of holes drilled in the thing because it will overflow from rain. So we've got that right back there. There's 2 holes. And as it rains, it will overflow a little bit, but the water would be acidic. The fish love it. And what I'm impressed by is how clear this water is. I'm doing absolutely nothing to it, and nature is just using all of its natural filtration processes to make this better. And so I really love, this is the opposite of the way I keep fish, whereas like you keep fish in a much more natural way in your fish room. I keep them artificial way, but I'm very intrigued by this fish keeping outside. And so I do a lot of cultures and that kind of stuff. Like these bins typically will be for Daphnia, and like the minutes, like let's say I set up 60 more tanks in there and I need plants to breed, right? I can come out here and there's literally just a 300-gallon bin filled with guppy grass. Like, so I've got unlimited amounts, and we've got duckweed again to feed, and I've got snails. Like I come and collect snails for the puffers. So I have all these live foods, and yes, it looks tacky and terrible out here. We're gonna move them all to the side of the building, but I wouldn't trade it for the world. You've even got, like here we've got brambles that have fallen in, and as they die back, they will fuel and keep, like this is fertilizer. Yes, I sell fertilizer on my website, but maybe in your aquarium at home, you don't have this falling in to fuel your plants. You got to artificially do it. This one we just drain because we know we're moving it. Again, this one I think is filled with duckweed and then a bunch of like hornwort and stuff. Oh, I guess more guppy grass and hornwort. This one's just green water because we like to start up Daphnia and cultures like that, so we want to feed them green water, and sometimes you're spawning rainbows and that kind of stuff. Having green water on hand is really helpful. Again, I've got all this stuff set up because I love to breed fish, and yet I'm not doing any of it. So you can see like, oh man, I really got to get back to that because that's what I do love. I've got all this infrastructure to do that. And then again, here is nothing but, this is pretty much all pond snails. And these are just more puffer food, you know, or if I've got little babies, these little pond pest snails are amazing. Once you have tiny fry like rainbows or anything like that, they hatch out and they're swimming around. Put these in the tank, they'll eat any leftover food off the bottom and stuff like that. You don't need a lot of them, just a couple. They'll eat all the dead baby brine shrimp, whatever you're feeding. It really makes life a lot easier, and you don't have to change nearly as much water in those tanks. And then like this tops off the new pond we built, which is, you know, basically almost a 4,000 gallon pond in the front yard if you guys want to check that out.
Let's do it. Yeah, those breeding tubs are perfect.
Yeah, they work out great, and you get them like $100 on Craigslist. Yeah.
Like the fact that, like, not the tubs per se, but
yep.
just all this. That is
sure.
like so perfect.
This is literally neglect free. Just
right.
2
you
years.
don't have to worry about it. Don't have to maintain it.
And the way it started, was this. It was like, oh, let's put some fish out there.
Right.
Like, it wasn't like, oh, let's put all of this in there. Each one. So legitimately, how all these got started is I would take a handful like this from my fish room, and I'd be like, all right, throw some in there, and just go down the line. And pretty soon you've got all this breeding structure, and I can use it for other ponds. If I get way too much of it, I can go feed it to koi or goldfish. Like, it's all natural food, and it doesn't make me any money because it doesn't ship very well, and there's all that kind of stuff. But it's purely like, this is what I love about all of this. I even want to do one of the totes that we're going to set up is for live brine shrimp outside. Because I love breeding brine shrimp outside. Because a lot of people don't know they're live bearers when they're happy. If they're not happy, they lay eggs.
Yeah.
So we hatch them from eggs because they're not happy. But when they're happy, they're live bearing. You just go and just keep netting live brine shrimp out for your fish every day. It's super cool.
And the adults get big too.
Yeah.
Right.
So here we've got a pond that is 10 foot by 10 foot by 6 feet deep. Now for me, this is what I consider to be a true koi pond. There's no sloped sides, just right down, very hard for predators. The fish will come up. Maybe if I go grab some food out of the house, we can get them to feed for you guys. But this is kind of my dream pond. And it might not look like it right now. We ran out of time. We started building it in July. We finished it late October because I was in Peru, I was in China, I went to all these places, and we dug it by hand. Like, we're crazy enough to dig it by hand. And, you know, it was really hard pan when we got down there. So it's kind of crazy. And then we had to put filtration in and other things that prevented us, like, because this pond is big enough, in my county, it counts as a swimming pool. So there has to be a fence up around it so kids can't come into it. So there's all these things that I had to do and get in place before I could even do this pond. You can see they're starting to come up, they see me, and they know I'm gonna feed. But yeah, so, you know, at 3,500, 4,000 gallons, depending on how much it's filled, it's a lot of water. If we kind of go around here, we did everything I wanted to do, and I wasn't compromising on anything yet. So we've got power dedicated to the pond. So these are actual power outlets hooked into the house on GFI breakers. Like, I didn't want to just run like let's just run an extension cord type of deal. Like, this is a forever thing for me. This is the filtration. You know, I can get down in there for you guys and kind of show you some stuff. So you get down in here, you've got plugins for everything. You've got these two Laguna filters of the PF4000. They each have 36 watt UV sterilizers, so we're running 72 watts of UV sterilization. To clean them, you would pull this lever up and down, and it rakes the sponges that are in there. And so you're going to go, well, isn't that going to shove it all back into there? It would, except they both have quick disconnects. You flip this switch, the water comes out instead of going back in. So we are going to feed all of our gardens and that kind of stuff. So that was the goal, is to get my family involved, so that my wife just had to flip one switch. Now we're watering all of our plants, and we're watering the, you know, the vegetables and that kind of stuff, because I want it so that we're going to build benches and stuff like that around. So you just sit down right by the pond. You saw those boards. We got to build the cap. This isn't the final filtration. This is what I had laying around. So that's why we haven't done it yet. We want to see, is this good enough in the heat of the summer where I'm really feeding them? If it is, great. Don't got to buy anything else. If it's not, we'll drill through the side. We'll plumb everything. We'll plumb in much bigger filtration. It'll cost probably $1,800, $2,000 to buy that filtration. So I'd rather not buy any of that because this was used at the 800 gallon. But you can see this is, yeah, this is not even how deep it is because we didn't dig it all the way down. But you can see, like, I'm a guy that's 5'10". This is just a filtration chamber. It goes deeper in the pond because the pond is 6 feet deep. From here all the way down is 6 feet. And if I'm 5'10", that means it goes down like another 2 feet basically. So it's a really deep pond. And that's what I wanted, so that everyone could get away from the predators. And we've got some big hyphen banded sharks down there and that kind of stuff. So it's going to be fun. I really enjoy the koi. And it's the one thing I don't really put much on YouTube because I just enjoy my little ponds outside. It's not work for me, it's enjoyment. So, you know, that's why it's taking a long time, because it wasn't work. So it took me 4 months to build it or whatever. And it's like, if it was for YouTube, it would have taken 4 weeks. Like, we would have done it, paid the money, get it done faster, get a backhoe in here. But we dug it by hand because I wanted it to be, like, I didn't dig it all, by the way. Corvus Oskin dug most of it. But, you know, definitely getting the blisters from digging and working through it all and getting all the big timbers and all that kind of stuff, it makes you appreciate it more. This is all the caps that are going to go on here. We just have to cut a couple of cutouts right on these 2 pipes for now so that you could walk across this and it would be totally hidden from the neighbors and that kind of stuff. We got a lot of plants to dress this place up. We've got a big maple tree that we're going to plant near the koi pond that I've had for a few years. So we bought this house a couple years ago, and you know, I've been getting ready for this. We had quarantine pond. We had this maple tree I've been carrying around from house to house for a couple years now, knowing this is going to be by the koi pond when I build one eventually. And my wife obviously is like, you're crazy, you know, like we keep bringing this thing from house to house. Never planted it because I don't have the koi pond I want. So, you know, that's kind of the big plan. We've got some of the plants. We've got a big fig tree and all that kind of stuff. We kind of want to build, I think it's called a gondola or a trellis, something that goes way up, and then plant some plants that vine to kind of shade it from any herons or anything that would see it. We want to build it to be a place where we actually want to sit, you know, and so that's obviously like another year's worth of work because you got to build stuff, then you got to plant stuff, then you got to get it to grow. You got all these challenges to make happen, but hoping in 2 or 3 years, I'll look at it and be like super proud and just want to sit out here on the benches that are built onto this thing. And, you know, I want to get picnic tables so we can have a little barbecue. You can come over, you know, we'll sit by the koi pond. It'll be great. You know, so that's awesome. That's why people ask, like, well, I was gonna build this in the fish room, but I decided, no, I need to be outside with this. I like nature too much to not. So this is my getaway. Get away from the computers and YouTube and the internet and come out here and just have fun.
Enjoy nature daily, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's my motto for my store, and I try to do it every day. Now, lately, I don't know if I enjoy it every day, but I at least touch it and interact with it every single day. You know, I've never had this shot. This is a pretty good shot. It shows how deep that pond is if I'm like standing here, and I know it goes deeper.
Like you're just peeking over.
We had some pictures of Jimmy in here, and it was like 2 feet above him. We had to get a ladder to get him out because we had this when we were spreading the liner. You had to get in there and like move it and do all these things. So we had a couple people in, a couple people holding it up top, and yeah, it's been a fun thing to do.
Where'd you get the pond liner?
So I ordered it from, I'd have to look up the company. It's a very thick liner that is used. It's not the normal liner you would use, like the 45 mil. It's a little bit thinner, but the way you fuse it together, it's like it uses microwave technology, so it fuses it much better than a normal pond liner seam would be. And this is like the same material that they'll use to line like tanker trucks and that kind of stuff, where like it really can't leak. You know, like yes, there's the metal there, but this really can't leak because it would be a horrible natural disaster type of thing. Because I only want to build this once, you know.
Right.
And it was like $500 more. I think this liner for this big was like $1,700. It was not cheap, and I don't pretend to be that it was cheap. But this was like my present to me. Like, why do I work hard so I can have a koi pond that I enjoy? And this comes after even I was offered free ponds by other pond builders and stuff for the YouTube channel, but they wanted to build like rinky-dink little ponds, or like we could do a pond, you know, like something that, as I envision, like my grandma has. It's like, look, it's 3 feet by 3 feet, you know, and that's not what I'm into. So I knew it was going to be big, and I kind of just wanted to do it. I kept thinking back to like, what is it, Encino Man and stuff, where they're like digging the swimming pool all summer long. Like I just kept thinking like, that's going to be me. I'm just going to dig this thing like all summer long. It's going to be horrible. But then I've got the story, and I'll be in tune with it. Like sometimes when you just buy something, you can take it or leave it. When you got to build something, like you're invested in that project. I built this.
So true.
I really know about it. I really got to utilize it because I put a lot of time and energy into it. And I do feel that way. I feel like I'm really invested in this project, where if someone had come in and built it for free, I would only see all the flaws. Now, is this thing perfect? No, but they're my flaws. They're things that I made a choice on. I wanted it this way. Who knew it was going to do that? Like, I don't think there's huge flaws, but I wish the liner would have laid down a little bit better in some of the corners, but, you know, I think it was us being novices trying to lay a 10 foot by 10 foot by 6 foot deep liner. Anything shallower and less, it's a lot easier. Like, even they were like, you want it that big? And I was like, uh-huh. Yeah, and they're like, okay, we can't guarantee it'll be 100% straight. It'll be really straight, but can't guarantee it. And so now I'm hoping to do a little bit more showing. Like, some of these koi have gotten awards when I go to little shows. I'm not big time in it, and I'm not trying to win, but I like to show up and just see other cool fish, and I buy. You know, I don't buy based on what's expensive or not. I buy on what I like. If it looks cool to me or my wife, that goes in the pond. You know, I don't go like, oh, that one will be a championship winner, I better buy that one, like that. But at the same time, they have a hard time getting people to show up with their koi in the smaller classes because there's like no money in it, and it's like work. But I'm always trying to support the hobbies, right? Like, if I'm going to be in this hobby and I'm going to come look, I should bring some fish. You know, it costs you like $50 to enter almost as many as you want. You bring a bunch of fish, let them look at them, you know, see if any place, you bring them back home. And it's a perfect time to remove any that you don't want. And also, I usually measure them each year, and then I can see how much they grew. I can see if there's any disease I need to take care of. If I want to get rid of one, like there might be one where I'm like, oh, I'm kind of tired of this one, I'm going to replace it with a different one. Perfect time when you're taking them to a show. You can find someone else, trade it, you know. Stuff like the Shu-Utsuri here that's black and white. That's a fish that'll look great in about 2 years as it gets bigger and that black really comes in, where you can see the black under the scales. That will come in full black at some point. And they're my favorite because they look like little cows. They get big, you know, when they start hitting 30 inches, big little cow fish. And so Shu-Utsuris are my favorite. You've got the other one that's way more black with a little bit of white.
Oh no, mic down. So yeah, that happened. But I will be back in May, so I'll get to know more about the koi fish later, maybe get some more info for you guys then. But I do hope you guys enjoyed this video. It's a really cool setup, especially that koi pond. You guys know how I am with Mother Nature and plants, so anytime I get to see fish and tubs and stuff like that doing their thing out in nature, it's always great. But I hope you guys may have learned something and enjoyed this video. Until next time, everybody, have a great one.